Unhinged Week 12's Up and Adams from Parts Unknown. Let's do this. The games were so fun. We have a huge week. Kevin Durant is on the program. We've got Week 13 playoff picture implications. The Titans looking perfect. What does it mean? Texans, what does it mean? We had upsets. We had wild comebacks, and almost upset with the Kuechly drum and the Panthers. Strong showing up against those Super Bowl champion Chiefs. Luke Kuechly, by the way, will be here. So excited to have him break everything down. And then we also have ESPN's Kevin Clark, just as athletic as Luke Kuechly. He's stopping by to tell us where do the Bears go from here. He's got hope for them. He's got a lot of hope for the Green Bay Packers, I hear. So we'll talk to him about that. And what else could he fix for me? Yeah, I guess like maybe the Texans. Oh, and the Commanders. We'll get to it right now. There's certain things that should not be allowed in the NFL, and one of them might have been the interdivision trade from the Giants to the Eagles. You know what I'm talking about, and it's all anybody should be talking about as you drink your coffee this morning. Let's start with Saquon Barkley. Last night, he and his Eagles and that O-line, yeah, they did it again. They ran away with this big win over the Rams primetime. They're now 9-2, 255 rushing yards, guys. That is unbelievable. That is top 10 most in a single game all time. 302 yards from scrimmage, fifth highest total by a running back in NFL history. Mike Tirico, we love you. We love you here in Up and Adams. You are a friend of our show. Go Syracuse, go whatever. But, and I do, wish you recovery quickly with that Achilles. But we can, in fact, my beloved Mike Tirico, start having and should be having the MVP conversation. Read it and weep. I want to see it happen. Saquon Barkley is squarely in it there. I need to put an end to the idea that it's just a quarterback award. I'm dying for it. It hasn't happened in over a decade. We have a guy on track right now to do things that he's never done. If you look at this, let's play the pace game. If you project Saquon's current pace over a full season, he breaks Dickerson's single season rushing record. He breaks Chris Johnson's record for scrimmage yards, and he'd have the third highest yards per carry in a season in the entire Super Bowl era. There's context involved here as well. The Eagles, which is this, perennial juggernaut, culturally organized, top to bottom. Roseman did his thing. Everybody's done their thing. They went to the Super Bowl. They were sort of teetering on the brink of, oh my gosh, we don't even know what the problem is or the solution. How do we fix this? Are we just about to, is our window closed? Are we done? Are we melting away like the Wicked Witch of the West? The presence was reestablished with Saquon. Enter Saquon. I remember sitting on this little knoll outside of the Eagles facility, and they were trotting out the incredible players that we got to talk to. And every single person I talked to, from the Dallas Goddards to even the Jalen Hurts winking his eye when he's on that golf cart. You mentioned Saquon Barkley, and it was like, watch, it's about to happen. And it has, and it establishes them as a legit Super Bowl contender. And that's what matters with MVP odds. It's context. He's cracked the top 5 in MVP odds over on FanDuel Sportsbook for the first time all season. Third at plus 650, okay? He's behind Josh Allen, who looks incredible. He's behind Lamar Jackson, who, sure, you can make a claim that he should get his third MVP. Why not? But if the Ravens, and this brings us into tonight's action to cap it all off in Week 12, Ravens, Chargers, Harbaugh Bowl. Ravens lose to LA. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Saquon jump Lamar. I think that's in store. After a 7th straight win, by the way, for these Eagles, they're third in Super Bowl odds with the Bills. They're tied for third with the Bills. They're behind Detroit, who looks great, and Kansas City. They've still got a game back situation with the Lions to deal with, and they want the 1 seed, and they might get it. We don't know. Green Bay might sneak and go on a run. We'll talk to Kevin Clark of ESPN shortly about that. Those two won't play in the regular season. We need that matchup in the NFC title game for sure. Would love to see it. If we want to flip to the Rams side of things, are they alive? Question mark. They are, even after a loss last night. And it's because the Seahawks had this huge win that changes the complexions of things in the NFC West and keeps it nice and tight. The Seahawks beat them, and here's the chaos. Take a look. Seattle's taken over first place. The other 3 teams are within a game striking distance. The Cardinals, they're getting the best odds still to take it home at plus 155, even with that loss, which is kind of interesting. Niners last place at plus 600 after their loss to Green Bay. There's some uncertainty about Brock's shoulder. Can they do it? Can they stay alive? What can they adjust? What can they fix? Health is always the frickin' issue with this team at a certain point. Should we expect them to overcome that like so many other teams do? I'd say so. We'll see what Kuechly and Kevin Clark have to say. We should give Seattle some much due love here for a second. Let's focus on what a statement game this was from a defense that had some serious struggles this year. Last few weeks, Hawks had needed Geno to throw for 1,000,000 yards to stay in these games and sort of give them a chance. And yesterday, everybody, the formerly bottom 10 ranked defense carries them to the win. They sacked Kyler, the elusive Kyler, 5 times. Take that, Joe's Pizza. They shut down the Cardinals' rushing attack, which was top 5. I was going on and on about James Conner being the story of the season. They shut him down. What an amazing job they did. He had 7 carries for 8 yards. Kyler had just 2 carries for 9 yards. Leonard Williams was everywhere, such a nightmare, so disruptive. They picked off Geno. They scored some points of their own. Kobe Bryant, okay, that pick 6 that was electric, and it sort of changed the game and put it on its head. They held the Cardinals to 6 points, guys. That's the fewest that the Seahawks have allowed against a divisional rival since 2016 with Richard Sherman and Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor on the field. Just awesome. Just great stuff. And you got to give it to Mike McDonald, who has really, I was talking about on the call this morning, is this the most, if you were giving a most improved little pin and a trophy to a team, maybe it's the Broncos. You can make the claim, but I think I'd give it to Seattle from what they've looked like. And here's a friend of the show, Devin Witherspoon, on what has gone on with them the past couple of weeks.
We started off pretty good, got a little rocky. And then, like I said last week, man, Coach McDonald, he just been in his bag lately. So he been on point with the calls, and we just go out there and execute. So I think it's just, we just believing in what we're doing now, and we just sticking to what we do best, and then we just go out there and do it.
Mike's in his bag, and I believe it. I believe the Seahawks are doing what they're doing. I think they can take the division. I think they can hop into first place over the next couple of weeks. Why? Because they have the Jets next Sunday. Hold on. Geno. Come on, guys. Geno's going back to MetLife. Love this. Asked him about it. We'll give that some love, I'm sure. Can't wait to see that. And then what happens? Those Seahawks get the Cardinals once more. Can they sack Kyler 6, 7 times maybe? If they win both of those, just Jets, Cardinals, their odds to go to the playoffs, by the way, goes up to 75%. I'd love to see it. I like the team a lot. I like the NFC West a lot. I like when things are close. I said I would start the show. We had to get to Thursday night, of course, and Hamilton and I could argue over why the Dolphins weren't out the gate the first thing, but it's okay. I want to give love to the Dolphins. I said I'd do it, and let's do it, because this is why I would want them in the playoffs, because they're so fun to watch. It was a dominant performance. I don't want to hear about the Patriots not being well coached. I don't want to hear about the Patriots not being a good team. Let's get into what Tua is doing. Miami jumps out to a 31-zip lead. The third quarter wasn't even over, people. Tua looked so sharp. We've been talking about the body language, the confidence. 317 yards, 4 touchdowns for old Tua, dicing up the middle of the Patriots secondary. Explosive plays are making their way back into the conversation. It's why I'm texting Hamilton, gosh, I love the Bengals. I'd love to see the Dolphins in this thing. Tua had 8 completions that were 10+ yards downfield. Jalen Waddle, love seeing him waddle about to a score on 144 yards. He was averaging like 18 yards a pop. Love that. There's a quality of competition that hasn't been great lately. I know that's going to be those are the tweets incoming. Oh, Tua's been great. Who have they played? You can't help who you play, right? But this is not a bad deep pass defense, okay? This is a defense that was 6th best against quarterbacks going into this week. The Dolphins offense, they're kind of finding themselves. They're feeling themselves. They're a little in their bag, as the kids say. And every week they're better with Tua since he's gotten back, showing his value to that squad. And it's not only him, and they're down Phillips, and they're down, a couple guys. Can we just give a little love to Chop, please? The defense is getting better in tow with Tua. That's what you look for at this point in the season. Who's going to go on a run? Who's looking well-rounded? Which defense has what they called strain? All the coaches love talking about strain. Chop has strain, okay? He had a 1.5 sacks yesterday, and he has 3.5 over the last 4 games. So it's fair, to want to see it against better teams too. I like that. I think we will. I get it. There's some real growth that I'm not going to dismiss, though, because of the schedule. And if you look at Tua, just as an individual over the last 4, pop this guy up. A game against the Bills and Rams, mind you, by the way. Tua's 4th in the league in passing, 10 touchdowns, 1 pick, leads the league in completion percentage, second to only Lamar in passer rating over that span. Tua is back, okay? That's the story here. And the Dolphins are back. in the playoff game, in the race. They sit a game and a half back of Denver for that final spot. They're within 2 games of the loser of tonight's Chargers-Ravens game. So they're getting plus 35 odds right now in FanDuel Sportsbook. They've got a 35% chance to take it in. This, and Hammy, I know we're going to bump out here because we got a big show. We got Luke Kuechly, we got Kevin Clark. And I did text you yesterday and you go, that means, the Bengals, the Broncos, all that. I don't know if they'll get in. I don't know if they have quite enough, but credit to Tua and how important he is to that offense, and credit to them giving us something very meaningful to watch on Thanksgiving. Because this Turkey Day with this Packers, and I'm going to be at some buffet somewhere in the world just crying. Got some juice to it, okay? I need some juice. I need some gravy. And if they win that one, those chances go up quite a bit.
Yeah, and we needed one of those games to pop on Thanksgiving, and we got it now because this is basically a playoff game for them against the Packers now. And you're right. It's, whatever you want to say. Yes, I think Tua would even say he needs to beat the top teams in this league. That's going to be the book on him until he changes it. But you can't argue anymore with what went on when he was out. You can't argue how valuable he is to this team, and you can't tell me that he's not a good quarterback after seeing what this team has looked like without him and just how he elevates a lot of the pieces around him.
This is the game I want to see. We have Shrifty, our New York fan. Anytime New York comes up, Shrift's got something to say, and he's not excited about the Giants game. I think a lot of people aren't excited about that. So at least we've got this with big stakes on both sides. Can the Packers keep it going? All eyes on Jordan Love. We're going to get to that right here on the show. Quick break here. We've got Kuechly on the other side of it. He is here to do one thing and one thing only: fix the pass defense. Tell me what is going on with the Texans. Are we cooked? Are we done? Are they one and done? I need answers. We'll be back after this. Hey, Ham.
What's up?
Oh yeah, but I do want to talk about the Jerry. So I didn't see that the world at large thinks that Jerry Jones had a play calling sheet up in the booth when he was wearing those glasses, which is the funnier part because the sun was affecting him or like whatever was going on. I loved that whole bit. Loved everything about it against this epic game against the Contenders. We'll dig into it, by the way. We'll dig into it. But he didn't have a play. He just had the straight up. You walk in any of those, you get a media guide. You get talk to me about jersey numbers and depth charts, right?
Yeah, you get that little flip card with the depth charts on them. It looks like that's what he had in his hand. It was not a play sheet, despite people from Twitter trying to run away with that one.
But it's kind of funny because you wouldn't be surprised if it was. Like you and I had an earnest conversation of like, let's really zoom in and try to get the angles here. Because it could be a play. There would be no surprise if that was a play call sheet. That's the sad.
You can't put anything past Jerry whatsoever.
Yeah, I love that. They got a big game. These Thanksgiving games, we're going to get some hunches for you guys from Luke Kuechly. So stay tuned for that. What are you most excited to hear Luke talk about? I didn't hear anything from Chris after we talked to him. I got no texts.
There were texts.
Keep talking.
Maybe that's why.
My phone. Out there.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear him talk about this. This Chiefs Panthers game was phenomenal. One of the best games of the day. The fact that he was there, got to witness it all firsthand.
If they won, my drum thing would have been. I wonder if this light would make me look less like a dragon. Maybe. Let's see if this. What do you think this will do?
What's that, Derek? It's just covering the camera. Yeah.
That's a little less dragon, lady. You can't really see anything.
Sure.
That might be an issue.
Might be more of an issue.
You think?
Yeah. Blinding yourself versus.
I do it for you. I do it for the show. Does it look? I can't tell what it looks. Does it look worse or better?
It looks no different to me, but yeah.
Looks the same.
As long as you're happy, that's all that matters. Yeah.
How can it look the same? Blinding. What are you guys saying? Then I can send all my retinal doctor workups to FanDuel to pay for. It'll be great.
There's some loot chance here in the stadium.
Will be wrapped up by Luke Kuechly. Kuechly, you are beautiful. That man's a tackling machine. Luke Kuechly, what more can you do?
Get rid of this ridiculous light and welcome in a 5-time first-team All-Pro linebacker, Panthers radio analyst. What a game! Smartest man in football, Luke Kuechly. I thought the drum rule, I thought I was all over it. And we're going to get into Chiefs-Panthers, but we got to deal with what was most recent, and that was last night. Now, the Eagles win a 7th straight, and welcome to the show, and happy Thanksgiving week to you, my friend. Brandon Graham. Big impact, okay? Straighten me out on this. Then he after the game, we learn he's out for the season. What?
I don't know how he had a great impact yesterday. I don't know how he finished the game with a tricep injury. The impact, like he had a sack, he hit Stafford a couple times, he was active in the run game, and then he comes out after the game and says, "Yeah, I'm done for the season. I tore my triceps." I mean, he's been the heartbeat of that Eagles defense for a long time, obviously, with Fletcher Cox not being in there anymore. Brandon Graham is that guy. And I always think about guys that I played with that it's hard to replace the guy. And I always think about Thomas Davis. When Thomas left, Shaq stepped in and did a fantastic job. But for them to lose Brandon Graham on the field and that presence, it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because you look at Sirianni talking about him and saying, this is one of my favorite guys I've ever been around. He's one of our best leaders. So yeah, you miss his on-field play, but the leadership that he brings in that sense of pride for that Eagles defense is something they got to figure out.
I mean, this is a team that could get the 1 seed. They're talented enough. They got, they're running over everybody with Saquon, which is unbelievable. What does this mean for the Eagles defense?
I think you look outside for them at that position. Obviously, Josh Sweat and Nolan Smith, 2 really good players. Brandon Graham is probably their second guy at both ends. But yeah, what do they do? Who steps up? Darius Slay got banged up yesterday. Does Nakobe Dean take over some of that leadership that they're going to miss without Brandon Graham on the field? But I think a lot of it is, what does he give them during the week at practice? Is he going to be able to be around a bunch and be on the practice field and travel to games and be in meetings and be on the sideline when things are, inevitably things are going to go bad for him as the season continues? They're going to have a bad series, a bad quarter, a bad game. Can he be there on the sideline and still bring that veteran presence to them and help calm things down a little bit? And I'm sure he will be, but you miss the guy and the presence and the leadership on the field more than you'll probably miss his play.
So if he can stick around, that's what I'm looking for, him to be able to, and he will. He is the heart and soul there. So if he can stay there, keep his messaging, keep the team, like that veteran presence is super meaningful for this contender in a cloudy NFC. I love that. Now let's get to the good stuff. Okay. So you're on this Panthers call. Luke, I was thinking about you because I was like, he's probably having so much fun. I'm loving this for Luke. He deserves this. And then I'm like, they might win. Then I really thought, no, because the Chiefs know how to win. And then they did it, of course, with the last-second field goal. I'd like your Chiefs takeaway. Let's start with the Chiefs. What is your Chiefs takeaway from that game?
I thought, obviously, the conversation revolves around Pat Mahomes, and his legs killed us yesterday. His legs extending plays in the pocket. We sacked him 5 times, but we weren't able to get consistent pressure when we needed to. Like this play right here killed us. So he's running. We think he's going to go out of bounds. He cuts it up. We've seen him do it a million times in playoffs. He extended plays in the pocket for big touchdowns. He ran in extended plays and used his feet to go get first downs. So that was really the deal breaker for us yesterday on the defensive side of the ball, is we got in situations where we're like, hey, we like this situation. 3rd and long. We had him backed up. We had him in different scenarios, but his ability to extend, and when he can extend and break the pocket, he always looks to throw the ball first. And then all that off script stuff with him and Kelsey and Mecole Hardman and Juju and DeAndre Hopkins, these guys that have been in the league for a long time. Once he's back there and he scrambles around, you can't cover guys for 5, 6, 7 seconds in the back end. So yeah, he extended plays in the pocket, but his ability to extend plays with his feet and go get first downs with his feet is what really hurt us on the defensive side of the ball yesterday.
We talked not long ago, you and me, as you were watching tape ahead of this game, and you were like, the pass rush is a thing. And then I watched uncharacteristically, but also I just don't like watch it. Like he got sacked a ton. Like you guys got to him
Yeah.
a lot. I'm sure you love that, and a lot of the league. I'm sure 30 other teams are really loving that. Sacked 5 times. It wasn't great. What I was paying attention to that I think is an issue, and I don't know how they fix it, if you think they need to fix it. How do they address their secondary? Because I'm not taking it away from Bryce Young, who was just tremendous, but that secondary is a bit of a worry.
Yeah, you know what? I give a lot of credit to our guys up front, our offensive line and Bryce. They brought zero pressure. They brought everybody a couple times, and Bryce did a great job of anticipating, throwing to a spot, trusting his guys being there, and then made a couple really good throws like that. So for me, it's like, all right, how can you help a secondary if they're not doing as they're not where they want to be? I think pass rush is huge. So obviously, can you get there with 4? That's been an issue for him. Chris Jones didn't have a sack yesterday. Obviously, the edge rusher has been a story the whole year. Karlaftis has 4. I think the rest of them before the game yesterday only had 2. Dana had a sack yesterday. So you want to get there with 4. You don't want to take a guy out of the secondary. You don't want to rush a 5th guy. So I always liked simulated pressure. So you put 5, 6 guys on the line of scrimmage
Okay.
and you rush 4 and you drop the rest of them. And maybe you rush a backer and a DB and 2 defensive linemen and you drop everybody else. So it looks like pressure because an off the ball guy is coming. Maybe it causes problems with protection, but you still get that drop 7 look that helps to not create holes in the secondary. So for me, it's can you get consistent pass rush with 4? If the answer is no, how can you get creative with still leaving guys in the back end to cover and leave 7? So that'd be simulated pressure. We used to do that all the time with Thomas Davis. We had really good athletic defensive ends, and you let Thomas rush which he likes to do. You send him from the second level. So quarterback sees a second level guy blitzing. He thinks it's 5. He goes to a window where he anticipates there being a void, and then there's a dropper. So, I mean, that defense is really daggone good. They're still, I think, a top 10 defense in a lot of categories. I think our guys just played really well yesterday.
I love that you brought it back to them. I will say that the way I look at it, the injury to Jalen Watson, they were top 10 in passer rating allowed, and then Watson gets hurt. They're 24th since he went out. I don't think they're able to play McDuffie the way. I mean, people just think McDuffie's just a bad player all of a sudden. That's not true. But when you miss a guy like Jalen Watson, you can't put him in the position that you want to. So simulating pressure sounds like the way to go. I cannot wait till you're the head coach of the Bears. I just can't wait, Luke.
Oh, there's a BC guy over there. Ryan Poles is a general manager, and he was at Boston College maybe a year or 2 before I got there.
What are you saying? What are you trying?
I'm just saying, hey, BC guy over there, he's done a good job.
Luke. Okay, so you mentioned how well your guys did. And so then I think about things from the Bryce Young perspective. Played so well again, despite a loss. But coach, let's hear what coach had to say. I was very curious. Is he the starter going forward, coach?
I don't have to make any statements. He's making it for himself. He's continuing to show us the progress we're looking for. It's the coaching staff, it's his teammates. He's showing us, what he can do when he's out there.
So we can expect him to start next Sunday?
Absolutely.
How much hope has he given you that he can be a franchise quarterback for you?
That's really far in the future. Right now, I'm looking to just build off of this week.
Translate that. Absolutely. Emphatic. He starts next week. Why not just give it to him for the rest of the season? Why not put that confidence in him? Why not?
I like what he said about absolutely he's our starter next week. So yeah, you don't have to worry about anything this week. But I think the big thing for him is I think Canales has done a good job of managing the situation of, is he your franchise quarterback? If you say yes, now there's tons of pressure put back on him. But if you say, hey, it's a long ways off, all we're worried about is you getting better each week, I think that's very easy for you to wrap your head around as a young guy that has had a difficult start to his career. And I really like what they're doing with him. Obviously, Andy's healthy again, but they've stuck with Bryce, and I think he's played well the last couple weeks. So I think with Canales, he says he's our guy this week. All we want him to do is get better each week. Is he our franchise quarterback? We don't know yet. It's not a yes, it's not a no, but we're not going to put a ton of pressure on a guy who's playing great. Let's just keep getting better each week.
I feel like it's more pressure. I feel like, to use your phrase, it's simulating pressure on a
There we
kid
go. We're bringing it
who
back.
is week to week doesn't know that he's the starter. I would maybe want the confidence, but the truth, it's a funny spot that coach is in, because you're right, he doesn't want to, why would he want to marry himself to a franchise conversation? But he's getting the best. I have to just trust him. He's getting the best out of his quarterback. Bryce looks better. And maybe it's, I think it might be, but you don't think it's more pressure? Not knowing it's your, if I knew that I wasn't hosting the show next week and I just had to, sing for my supper every day, I'd probably be a lot better, but a lot more pressure.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. Maybe it does put more pressure on him, but I think we're trying to he said it, we're trying to get better each week with Bryce, and he's doing a great job. And I think that's kind of where they're at with it right now, is just get better each week, Bryce. We want to see progress. And I think this past game against a really good defense was probably one of his best games he's played since getting to Carolina.
Do you think he should be the starter the rest of the season?
Yeah.
Why?
Well, I think you look at, so him, when he came back, the first half of the Denver game, not his best football. Second half, as the game got out of hand a little bit at the end, but he was slinging it around. And then we go play the Saints. We beat the Saints, get our second win. Then he goes to New York, gets another win. And then this week, I felt like he stood in the pocket. He didn't look to scramble immediately. That's just something that he was doing early on in his career. Everything was scramble out to his right, look for something to throw. But this week, I felt like he stood in there. He trusted where his receivers were. The offensive line protected well. He took some big shots from the Chiefs defense. And then the one thing that everyone has always talked about with Bryce is anticipation, understanding of the offense, and accuracy. And there was 2 plays yesterday where they brought 0. One was on a big third down to Thielen, and then one to David Moore earlier in the game, where Bryce sees 0. People are bearing down on him. He throws a ball with anticipation where this route should be, gives David Moore a chance to run underneath it before he comes out of his break. And previously, either he didn't see it, he wasn't able to deliver the ball, or it wasn't accurate. So he did all 3 of them on that play. Same thing with Thielen. And then the other thing that he missed a throw last week against the Giants to Jalen Coker on a big third down the sideline, which is a ball you throw to a spot. It's an accuracy touch throw. Didn't make it. You fast forward to this week, the last drive of the game, he's got a ball that he throws to Xavier Legette down the sideline, which is a timing throw. It's a placement throw. He throws that ball. It's literally a perfect throw. We didn't make the catch, but it was perfect. So for Bryce, you saw progress in the sense of sit in the pocket, anticipate, throw, accuracy. And the one thing that we saw with Bryce last year that I don't think it's talked about enough is just toughness. He gets hit a lot. All he does is get back up and keep playing football. So for us yesterday, took us down a drive at the end of the game, scored, converted on 4th down, had a couple big throws. It was it was very good to see.
He also hasn't given us a soundbite. He hasn't given us any demonstrative behavior. He doesn't get enough credit for. I wouldn't call that mental toughness so much as being a grown up and being having some self-discipline. As someone who doesn't always have that, I recognize it in other people, and I think he's got it. And of course, those people who never get credit for it. Okay, he should be the starter the rest of the way. I love that. Let's move on to the Niners portion of the program, because this is what's hot. You're not on Twitter, Luke. We're going to ask you about this last week before it was a big thing, and now it's a bigger thing. Let's get into it. It is the Bleacher Report. It is sports. It's everyone. Everyone's saying get rid of Shanny. Is he on the hot seat? Should he be gone? They're 5-6. You watched them yesterday against the Packers. They got no juice, my friend. You can say what you want. I know you love them. I know you love Fred Warner. I know you love Christian McCaffrey. They got no juice. What do you think about that?
I think it's preposterous. I have played against Kyle Shanahan. I love him as a coach. I think any talk about them moving on from him would be a terrible decision for the 49ers. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I had such a challenge playing against that offense and that system and what they're capable of doing. I just think that they've had some injuries at key places this year, and with that being said, they're a game back in the NFC West. I think moving on from him would be ridiculous.
Christian McCaffrey was healthy. Luke, did you lie to me? Because he sure doesn't look healthy. Did you lie
Hey,
to me?
what's that? I would never lie to you. Christian's gonna be just fine. He's gonna be just fine.
I think you might. I mean, I've been watching. I feel like it's uncharacteristic. He's not all of a sudden a non-impact player. I don't know. So tell me this: if they're 5-8, this is another discussion going on. I mean, you're a perfect person to ask. You got to take your heart out of it, though. If they're 5-8, 5-9, should they shut Christian down?
No, I don't think they should.
Okay.
I think I as a player, I'm going to speak as a player. I
Okay.
think getting shut down, guys play football because they want to play football. And guys like Christian love the game and love to compete and love to be out there with the guys. I think shutting him down takes away the joy that he has of playing football. And he works so hard. Football is so important to him. All he wants to do is play football and be around the guys and help them win football games. So I think, yeah, it's been a difficult season for him. Obviously, they went to the Super Bowl last year and they expect more from this season. They've been banged up. Ayuk's been out, Christian's been out, Kittle's been out, Debo's been out. Obviously, Purdy didn't play last week. Trent's been dealing with some stuff. But I think shutting down players as a player, I think it takes away the opportunity for these guys to have joy of playing a game that they spend so much time on, they work so hard for, they come back from injuries, they spend their whole life making sure that, especially with Christian, that they can be at peak performance during the season on Sunday. So I would hate for that to happen to me. I would imagine that he would feel the same
I
way.
know what we're saying. All of these things that we're saying, you're saying it's absurd to have the Shanahan thing, and I do too. But there are I mean, it's fair to question, right? Because I mean, the argument would be you're naming all of these injuries. Well, Luke
Mhm.
Kuechly, the Chiefs, have had just as many, if not more, injuries to key difference-making players, and they somehow get over it. Why
Yeah.
can't the owners? Why can't
Well,
they?
I think you look at the Chiefs, they got one of the best top two guys in the NFL playing quarterback. I think that's a huge advantage for him. I think they played really well on the defensive side of the ball this year and kept them in games. And they've got, lucky's not the right word, but they blocked a field goal. They've had some stuff go their way, but I think a lot of times you can say they get lucky. You can say stuff's gone their way, but good football teams just find ways to win games. And that's what the Chiefs are right now.
The Niners have so much talent. They have this window. They have a history of it's a very pedigree team. We expect so much out of them. So at what point would you consider him on the hot seat? If they have a losing season, he should just,
No,
is he ever going to have to win a Super Bowl to keep his job? How does that work with him?
I think they're seasons away from having that conversation. I just think if you're
If
John
you're not
Lynch,
going to go to Chicago, he has to. So I'm just trying to make something
hey,
happen.
I like him. I like him out there in San Francisco. I think Kyle Shanahan's one of the best coaches in the NFL, and I think them talking about him being on the hot seat is a result of just
Greatness.
how highly people think about him.
It's fair. It's like the bad and the good of it, of how what an offensive dynamo he is. Okay, let's talk about these Giants because you are like a football guy, and by the way, the Bucks look amazing. Tommy DeVito takes over. They released Daniel Jones. I'm sure as a player you have thoughts about that, but this offense, and then I expect the Giants to like some kind of spark, little something. Their defense didn't show up. They were flat, uninspired. I'm just talking about body language. And then on offense, where they did nothing, rookie Malik Neighbors said this to reporters after the game.
I'm tired of going out there and losing. Like, it's just that. I mean, I don't know, bro. Go out there first, second quarter, don't get the ball, start getting targets at the end. I mean, can't do nothing. Start getting the ball when it's 30-0. What you want me to do?
Why in the first half are they not looking at you?
I don't know. Talk to Davis about that. I mean, obviously, it ain't the quarterback. Same outcome when we had DJ at quarterback. I mean, take a look. It ain't the quarterback.
It ain't the quarterback. I call out. You're smiling. Ooh.
Look at his outfit and his glasses and his jacket and him chewing the gum. obviously it makes me smile, but I think they're probably all frustrated. I don't think you can understate how much those guys like Daniel Jones. And I just think I've been around him. He's a Charlotte guy. He is a great dude. I think he's super tough. I think those guys all love him. And we're probably equally as frustrated as he was, as the fans were, as the organization was, that they weren't getting better results. But I think there's probably a definite letdown for those guys when he's no longer there. Just the presence and the positive attitude and the type of guy that Daniel is, I think they're probably just kind of bummed that I mean, Dexter Lawrence talked about it. One of my best friends isn't on the team anymore. So I don't think you can understate the aspect of him not being there anymore. Just you go to work and it's football and you want to win games and you work really hard, but when you go in, all your boys are there, all your buddies are there. And if one day I showed up and we're halfway through the season and Greg Olsen and Thomas Davis aren't there anymore and they're not on the team, I'm like, dang, like kind of
was it the wrong move?
What's that?
It was the wrong move.
No, so I think them sitting Daniel down is obviously a difficult decision, but I think them letting him go, I think it's hard, but now they give him a chance to go somewhere else and be part of another team. I think I don't hate that. I mean, from everything I feel, they're going to move on from him this offseason. So why not give him a chance to go be somewhere else? And also, I think it takes a little bit. It's kind of a double-edged sword. It takes some of the pressure off, the other quarterbacks that are going to play and the other guys in the team of not, like, well, I mean, if Daniel was just in, I think it takes a little bit of that pressure away. I think it's just a difficult situation all around.
Where should he go, Daniel, before we take a little break here?
Oh man. I mean, you look at what's going on in Vegas. Minshew just got hurt. That could be cool for him, but I feel for Daniel. I just want him to have success. I root for good guys that do things the right way and that play hard and are tough and love football. And Daniel's that guy.
I think that's the majority of people. I think there's people confused that there's some overwhelming, we hate Daniel, get rid of him. There's a lot of love for Daniel Jones, who's always done it the right way, similarly to what I was saying about Bryce Young. Those things somehow don't stick out all of the time, but why would they in the world that we live in? Luke Kuechly's going to stick around. We're going to talk a little Thanksgiving. We're going to talk you got to fix the Houston defense for me. I'm not letting you go before that happens. We'll be right back. I could not have said that better myself, Hamilton. What was I saying in the morning meeting? Yeah, let me see what else I want to do. Can you put up the bar really quick for me, or the thing, and I can just come out. Yeah, please. Thank you. Not for the new probably pretty big moment of genius. Luke, I need to know the smartest thing you saw on the field yesterday.
Smart. This was a great effort play. Devon Witherspoon, his awareness and his ability and his athletic ability. So he's on a run pressure. He spins around, chases Kyler Murray out. Kobe Bryant with the pick six. But Devon Witherspoon's athletic ability and his ability to diagnose this play and then beat Kyler Murray to the corner is something that Kyler Murray has never probably had to deal with. The guy that beat him to the corner. And then he makes that throw, and then obviously Kobe Bryant's the recipient, and then Devon Witherspoon with the block on Kyler Murray. But just his athletic ability, his ability to put his foot in the ground. When you're pressuring off the edge like that, you're looking, hey, I'm going to chase the ball down from the backside. But he saw Kyler pull it. He put his foot in the ground. He did that little spin move, and then beat him to the corner. It's just I don't know how he does it. He's a second-year player. He's probably 22 years old.
Wow.
My leg would break in half if that happened.
And I don't know how he does it from Luke Kuechly to a second-year Devin Witherspoon. I love it. He's got belief. That's how he does it. He was saying it after the game, and they can take control over the division in the next 2 weeks. They've got the Geno revenge game against the Jets. They've got another one against the Cardinals on the other side of that. All right, Hamilton, get in here for a little hunch time, turkey time. Let's do it. We got 3 great games: Dolphins, Packers, Giants, Cowboys. Oh my! There's another one wedged in there somewhere. Go for it, Ham.
But first, we got Monday night. We got the Harbaugh Bowl tonight with the Chargers and Ravens. So we're going to dig into that. Okay, Justin Herbert's on for passing yards is 261.5 for this one. So what's your hunch? Does he hit that?
My hunch, I'm going to go over because I always do, and it kind of works out for me. I'm going over logically because he has done that in 4 of the past 5 games. So usually it works, guys. It's math, round up, carry the one. Ravens defense still not great. Okay, there's still a question for me. I don't like that Loud's questionable, but I'm still going to go over.
All right, Luke, your turn. Derrick Henry's been held under 70 yards in back-to-back games now. His line for tonight is 84.5 rushing yards. So what's your hunch? Does he go over that, or do the Chargers keep him bottled up?
I think I'm going to take the over on it because he had 13 carries last week. I don't think, and obviously they lost to Pittsburgh, so I think a big healthy dose of Derrick Henry in this game will get him on the over. I'm excited for the brothers. They're fascinating to watch.
All right, Kay. Hit me with one anytime touchdown score for the Ravens, but you can't say Derrick Henry.
Okay, I'm not going to say Derrick Henry, who's 207 yards, I believe, behind Saquon Barkley. So we might have 2 2,000-yard rushers. I'm excited. I'm going to go because I saw this stat that the Chargers are the only team in the league that haven't allowed a touchdown to a tight end this season. They give up a bunch of yards, though. So I'm going to say that streak is actually going to end tonight. Give me Mr. Mark Andrews, who's been a touchdown scoring machine lately.
All right, Luke, one anytime touchdown score for the Chargers tonight.
I was gonna go Ladd McConkey. I'm gonna say Ladd McConkey. I liked him coming out of Georgia. He's a really good player. He's coming on as a rookie. I'm gonna take Ladd McConkey getting in the end zone against that Ravens defense.
All right, one more for you, Luke. The Ravens are favored by 2.5. So what's your hunch? Who wins this one tonight?
I think the Ravens control the game on the ground. I think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson both have big games, and hopefully my man BC guy Zay Flowers has a big game. I'm gonna take them covering on that spread.
Okay, there we have it. Ravens,
right,
Chargers, Hamilton. Thank you. We're gonna take a short break. We got Kevin Clark on the other side, but we're gonna say happy Thanksgiving to Luke in the break. Don't go yet, Luke. I have a Thanksgiving line of questions for you. We'll be back with Kevin Clark of ESPN. You got to make one thing to put on the table. High stakes, hot simulated pressure or not. You're making something, and it's got to be the best thing you've got on a Thanksgiving table. What is Luke Kuechly cooking?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Do I go dessert or do I go main course? I'm gonna go apple pie. I'm going apple pie with a big crust on it.
Can you make an apple pie
with.
though? Question, like, do you think you could do it?
Of course.
You've made an apple pie before?
I have not made one, but I've made key lime pies. I've made pumpkin pies. I would have to give a little effort on an apple pie. I'm sure I could I'm sure I could find something to learn from on the internet, but I would make a good apple pie with some really good vanilla ice cream.
And put it on his Bachelor reel, the demo reel, send it to ABC. Luke Kuechly, I hope you and yours have a beautiful Thanksgiving. Thank you. And thankful that you come on the show. Thanks.
Absolutely, you too.
You're the best. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The Bachelor reel it goes, Hamilton. Apple pie. Is there anything more, Luke Kuechly?
There's nothing this man can't do.
He's the most delicious. He's just the most delicious. Okay, so Friday night, I was lucky and honored to get to host the Sports Business Journal 40 Under 40. Now, of course, did I research? Well, I did. Who knew, right?
Of course not.
Abe, who runs the maestro. Well, hold on, I didn't ask for this yet. Hold on. The maestro goes on, he does like a 30-minute roast of everybody, Hamilton. Then he hands it to me. Does he put a Daniel Jones, Kay Adams joke in there in front of like all the most important people in business? He does. He does.
Oh,
there
boy.
It was a party room. So then, and it's almost like a kindergarten graduation where it's not like there's no wit. Everybody's, and it's these amazing people who are truly like, I was so impressed. I was like, I've done nothing with my life. These are truly the most impressive people. And they come across the stage and they take a photo, and it's like a really beautiful moment. They all have a walk-up song that they pick. I picked, Here Comes the Hot Stepper, of course. Eni Kamosi, of course, was my walk-up song. There was a Diageo table, and they were so lit the whole night, and I stopped by their table to say hi. When the guy came across, this is Rick Pineda, I'll never forget it. As you can see, he hands me a little mini bottle of 42. And he wants to take shots. So I'm up there ripping shots. And by the way, this was not towards the end of the night.
Oh, boy.
I had like 90 kindergarten names to go, welcoming them into their 40s, saying, welcome, here's a Costco card and some, a random list of food restrictions. Welcome to your 40s. I did that. Tequila follows me around. We'll get into it. But thank you, SBJ. Had a great time. Welcome back to the show. It's Up and Adams on a Monday, breaking all things down. Luke Kuechly talking to us. I let him escape without fixing the passing defense and the problems going on with the Texans, which are a bit of a head scratcher. We're going to get into it with the host of ESPN and Omaha Productions. This is football. Kevin Clark, listen to your pod this morning. I want to get right into it. But let's break down the MVP chances of Saquon Barkley. What do you make of what he's been able to do? Does he have a chance?
I think there were 9 instances this year where he got tackled at the 1-yard line, and then of course Jalen Hurts runs a tush-push, steals his touchdowns, and it's a totally different conversation. If you don't have that, he'd be the favorite probably, and that's the most disappointing thing is just because of the play calling tendencies. I think the media should evolve beyond just saying counting stats, touchdowns, that kind of thing. Like, who has changed an offense more than Saquon Barkley has with the Eagles? I mean, the second half of last year, that was a lost franchise. I thought they should have moved on from Nick Sirianni because they had no answers. They had no second pitch when they started to fade. And now Saquon Barkley has reinvigorated everything that team does. He pairs so well. And people keep saying, well, he wouldn't have done this with the Giants. Well, that's true. But part of that is the Giants understood how violent their offensive line was and how they can get to the second level and how they can create these holes for Saquon Barkley. This is Howie Roseman understanding exactly what his team needed and knowing that in this running back market, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. I mean, this is a masterclass from that franchise, from a running back who knew where to go, understand how to follow his blocks, literally and figuratively. I cannot put him any higher in the MVP discussion right now.
Oh my gosh, I hope it happens. He's worked his way into the odds. He's got some great games coming up.
Yes.
There's a thing of beauty to watch, and it makes the Giants, as you said on your amazing pod this morning, they couldn't look worse with all of this and what's going on.
If you were locked in a room and somebody said, make the Giants season look as embarrassing as possible, you would have done a worse job than what has actually unfolded here. That is, you could not have dreamed of this. And you could not have, by the way, filmed it all and put it on HBO in the little tiles next to Polar Express when my son is watching it.
I'm like, was Jamie Horowitz back there pulling strings, writing this script, making this happen? Like, what dark artist back there created this amazing circumstance of events that makes you look so bad? It's almost, it had to be written and orchestrated. It is wild. And then you have in the same division the team that I would like to see outside of the Eagles here and the Giants. I want to see the Commanders do well, and they are now 3 straight losses. I don't love that. You seem to believe in Cliff Kingsbury's ability to adjust. There's some things that you'd like to see Jaden do.
Yeah.
People are out on Cliff this morning.
I keep seeing the stats that I think he goes down 2 points per month as the season goes along. So yeah, I think it's 27 in October and then like 23. Yeah, there we go. It's a downward trend. And I think part of that is the lack of adjustments. I was in Washington or Virginia for training camp, and I talked to Davita Pritchard, who's the quarterback's coach down there, and I knew the floor was going to be really high for Jaden Daniels because of the things he does well. He was basically a savant last year at throwing down the field, especially vertical seam routes. And at LSU, he was historic. And I think they had the most explosive plays in college football history last year, beating Joe Burrow's 2019 record. And that just kind of shows you, if you can do that in the SEC, you can do that against anybody once you get to the NFL. And so what I think they should go back to is more trusting of Jaden Daniels, more of those sort of vertical seam routes, stop throwing outside the numbers, frankly, for a couple of weeks and just see, do what he did really well at LSU, get back to basics. I think that getting back to basics is always the cure-all when you have kind of a swoon like this. And by the way, they should have won yesterday. I mean, they could have won yesterday. It was situational. I put some of that on special teams, obviously. But a team like the Commanders right now should be blowing out a Cooper Rush-led Cowboys team. And that's what concerns me. I think they'll get back on track. I really have no long-term concerns about the Commanders right now.
We love them. They look great, but it doesn't really matter what they do because the Green Bay Packers are winning the NFC. Or do you think so? Do you still think so? Are we doubling down on what you've thought all along?
I don't know. So I picked them to win the NFC, and it takes me a long time because I hate waffling and saying in week 3, like, oh, Jordan Love looks a little hobbled or whatever, and Malik Willis is in there, blah, blah, blah. And so I always wait until the last second to move off my pick. And right now, I'm seeing a Lions team that looks extraordinary, like historically good, can't be stopped. They lose Aiden Hutchinson, who his pressure numbers are basically like the best ever at his position if you don't count Aaron Donald, which, by the way, for any interior lineman, you can't count Aaron Donald. He's just on a different planet. But they lose him, and somehow the defense statistically gets better. Like, that's culture to me. That's coaching. That's Aaron Glenn. That's depth. That's Brad Holmes, the GM. That's Dan Campbell. I mean, I spent a lot of time, with Dan Campbell when he first got there for a big piece I did when I worked at The Ringer. And the belief he instills in that franchise is unbelievable. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. And the problem...
Unlike anything you've ever seen?
100%. 100%. That the enthusiasm that he attacked the Lions job with, and like, I remember... he had played for the Lions, and it was during the recession in 08 and 09, and he was getting legitimately emotional about Detroit and what it's gone through as a city just over the past 20 years. And I'm sitting there, and he hadn't coached a game yet as head coach of the Lions. I'm sitting there across the table from him in his office thinking, like, this guy, and he literally said he wants, as a football town and just a regular town, he wanted Detroit to understand that he knows their pain and what they went through. He's from small town Texas. He said that Detroit is just like Texas, but with just different accents as far as how much they love toughness and love football and all that stuff. And I was just sitting there and I was saying, this guy understands what a Lions coach should be. And then he got a bunch of players who understood what the Lions roster should look like and how they should play. And that kneecaps thing that everybody made fun of, that was him not talking to us. It wasn't talking to you. It wasn't talking to anybody in the national media or Detroit media. It was talking to the fans and the players who were going to come in there. And the first year that they were there were some guys who weren't into it. There were some guys who weren't into him doing the up downs and all this stuff in training camp and all that. And he got rid of those guys. And he drafted guys who wanted to be Detroit Lions. And I think that it's really easy to be snarky and say, oh, the Lions, they've had no success. He understood what a Lion should be. He understood. And I just think the problem, Kay, with trying to replicate the Dan Campbell model, if you're the Jets or any of these teams
I'm
trying
like,
to
Chicago,
get out of
hi.
Yeah. Well, the problem is there's only one Dan Campbell, right? There's only one Dan Campbell, and to say everybody says they're a culture guy on January 4th when they're interviewing with the owner, and then on August 30th they're not a culture guy, and that's the biggest problem with trying to get the next Dan Campbell.
I think luck. I was saying this in my morning meeting. I'm like, there's so much luck that has to do with it. Like everybody, when Saleh got hired, it was like, well, finally the Jets got the top 5 guy from the amazing team with the pedigree. Right. It's just a lot of it's luck, but I love that you saw that I think there's people with the Saints who didn't think that maybe he would thrive as much as he has, but it's also the fit with what the team needs, the persona of it, and Lions fans are absolutely incredible. Wait, so are we abandoning ship, or are we saying the Packers can go on a run? Let's just
I got on a tangent. I'm still picking the Packers, but I feel worse about it every single week. Even after yesterday. Like, I just see this Lions team and I'm thinking, man, this is a wagon. The city's going to be behind them. We saw what happened last year when it was a madhouse in Detroit. My pick is underwater. I'll say that.
There's something about Jordan that I'm still like, I got a question about you. Are you going to cough it? I'm like, he might cough it. I have to, but they could go on a run. I'd love to see it. I want to get to one other thing. What else do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
We could do Baker bravado. What do you want to talk about?
I love Baker Mayfield. The downfield blocking of Baker Mayfield yesterday. You want to talk about culture? Like, he's tough. He understands. Like, I know Tampa's not a tough city. We can't do that with. I'm from Orlando, so I can say that. I'm right down I-4. But like, it's not like Detroit. But like, if you're a Bucs fan, how can you not be fired up about watching Baker Mayfield? He's trolling the Giants by doing the Tommy DeVito celebration.
But
like,
do we like it? Like it? Because hold on, his
I love it.
Wow. Okay, good. Me too. But I don't want it to like be overwhelming because then people hate on him and it does not end well. I like when he's. You like it.
I love it. I love it. When you shouldn't, as Bill Belichick said, you should enjoy making a football play. Troll away.
And I love that. And good luck to those Packers, even though you're completely full of shit. I don't think you believe in that at all. Love you, Kevin Clark. Check out This Is Football on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you.
Thank you, Kay.